Fox 4 brought you the news of the staffing shortage at Cape Coral Police Department from last week, as we learned that the Cape Police Department is nearly 30 people short of a full staff.
Yeah, and Officer Brandon Sancho explained to us that it makes it very difficult for CCPD to keep up with its booming population.
Tonight, though, we will break down why Cape Coral is far from the only law enforcement agency enduring this, as some cities all across the U.S. are calling the shortage of officers a crisis.
Scripps national reporter Amber Strong talked to officers and the head of the Police Chiefs Union to find out just why and what can be done about this.
From firefighters to public school teachers to sanitation workers, public sector hiring has seen a steady decline since the start of the pandemic. But there's one profession that's become a particular concern nationwide: law enforcement officers. And the hiring woes have been building for years. A survey of police departments in 2019 found that nearly 80% of agencies reported struggles with hiring qualified recruits. Half of the agencies said they changed internal policies and qualifications to get more candidates.
I think we've seen this problem growing steadily over the last, say, 10 years or so, but it really ramped up post-COVID.
4% fewer officers were hired in 2021 than in 2019, and departments across the country saw 47% more resignations and 19% more retirements in 2022 compared to 2019, according to a survey of police chiefs by the Police Executive Research Forum.
Some states have added a recruiting bonus to out-of-state applicants who are already certified, which they're all interesting ideas, but when we're taking from one agency to another, we're not solving the problem, we're just moving it.
Police departments across the country have been paying hundreds of millions of city budgets on overtime pay, especially as crime rates continue to creep. The overtime led to overworked officers and resignations.
Overtime was a big issue. And I mean, many officers, a big part of their salaries comes from overtime.
And lastly, a huge hurdle for hiring and retention has been public police perception.
Don't we understand why there are some incidents and issues that happen in our profession that are absolutely inappropriate and tragic and criminal in some cases, and they have to be dealt with. In impact, they're huge, but in volume, they're very minor compared to the number of incidents and interactions police officers have on a daily basis.
Experts say hiring shortages can lead to agencies shrinking training windows or lowering test qualifications in order to fill crucial vacancies. Some chiefs of police express concern that to fill vacancies, they risk becoming a so-called second chance department for officers that were dismissed elsewhere for misconduct or even criminal activity.
And I've known officers who got fired from one department and then gone over to another one because they've got the training, they've got the post certificate, they can hit the ground running. And so departments say, well, we'll take a chance on them.
A number of departments have responded to the hiring shortages by dedicating more funds to competitive salaries. Others have lessened low-level requirements for the academy, like no tattoo rules or easing restrictions on prior marijuana use. But ultimately, many insiders say in addition to improvements with wages, benefits, and work-life balance, there has to be a more fundamental cultural shift to address the lack of trust and support.
Community-centered policing, where you're rewarding officers properly for this type of work, really comes in, and that's the best recruitment effort that you can have.
Amber Strong, Scripps News.